You may believe that being constantly available makes you valuable. You answer quickly. You make time even when you are busy. You remain present when someone becomes distant. You forgive behavior that you would never accept from anyone else. You become the person they can contact whenever they are lonely, bored, confused, or in need of reassurance. At first, your availability may look like loyalty, but over time, something changes. Your attention stops being appreciated and starts being expected. Your presence stops feeling like a choice and begins feeling permanent. And once someone becomes certain that you will always be there, they may stop thinking about what it would mean to lose you. This is the dark psychology of being too available. The problem is not kindness. The problem is unrestricted access. When your time, attention, emotional energy, and forgiveness are always available without conditions, another person may stop seeing them as things you willingly give. They may begin treating them as things they are entitled to receive. You think you are proving that you care. They may be learning that they never have to earn your effort. You think your consistency creates security. They may be discovering that there are no consequences for neglecting you. And eventually, you may realize that your constant presence did not make you more important. It made your absence impossible to imagine. The human mind adapts quickly to what remains constant. At first, your attention may feel meaningful. Your messages are noticed. Your support is appreciated. Your presence creates comfort. But the mind gradually turns repeated experiences into expectations. What was once appreciated becomes normal. What was once normal becomes assumed. And what is assumed often receives less conscious attention. If you answer immediately every time, your response becomes predictable. If you always make time, your time begins to appear unlimited. If you remain emotionally available regardless of how someone treats you, they may stop viewing your presence as a choice. They begin viewing it as a condition. You will answer. You will understand. You will forgive. You will return. The other person may not consciously decide to value you less. The process is often automatic. Their mind no longer needs to monitor whether you will remain because your behavior has already provided certainty. You have removed the possibility of loss. And when the possibility of loss disappears, the motivation to protect something can weaken. This does not mean that people only value what is difficult to access, but people often become more aware of what is limited. Your time has value because it is finite. Your attention has value because it cannot be given fully to everyone. Your presence has meaning because you are choosing to be there instead of somewhere else. But when you behave as though your availability has no limits, you may hide that value. You make your presence feel automatic, and what feels automatic is often taken for granted. Loyalty is a choice. Inevitability is an assumption. The difference is psychological. Loyalty says, I remain because I choose to. Inevitability says, you never have to worry about losing me. When you remain available under every condition, your loyalty may stop appearing voluntary. You may tolerate being ignored because you do not want to seem demanding. You may accept inconsistent behavior because you are afraid of creating conflict. You may return immediately after being hurt because distance feels more dangerous than disappointment. But every repeated behavior teaches something. If someone withdraws and you always move closer, they learn that distance does not threaten the connection. If they ignore you and you continue giving the same attention, they learn that neglect has no effect. If they cross a boundary and nothing changes, the boundary becomes symbolic. It exists in your words, but not in your behavior. Eventually, they may stop asking what they need to do to keep you. They already believe they know the answer. Nothing. You will remain anyway. This is where loyalty becomes dangerous. The more you prove that you will stay regardless of how you are treated, the less pressure the other person may feel to create conditions worth staying for. Your devotion becomes a guarantee, and guarantees are rarely protected with the same care as choices. The brain notices change. A sudden silence can attract more attention than months of constant communication. A delayed response can create more thought than hundreds of immediate replies. An unexpected absence can become psychologically louder than years of presence. This happens because the mind is designed to detect changes in patterns. When something remains stable, attention moves elsewhere. Your constant availability may become part of the background. You may be giving more emotional energy than the other person is consciously registering. You respond. You listen. You reassure. You remain. And because you always do, your effort becomes difficult to see. The other person experiences the benefit without noticing the cost. They may not think about the time you rearranged. They may not recognize the energy you used. They may not understand how often you chose them over your own priorities. They only experience your availability as normal. Then one day, you respond later. You become less accessible. You stop initiating every conversation. Suddenly, they notice. They ask what changed. They accuse you of becoming distant. They may become more attentive than they were before. But increased attention does not automatically mean increased value. Sometimes, people do not react because they suddenly understand who you are. They react because they have lost access to what you provided. They may miss your attention without missing you. They may miss your availability without respecting your needs. They may miss the certainty that you would always be there. Those are different forms of attachment. People can become dependent on your presence without becoming deeply invested in you. You may be the person they contact when they feel lonely, the person they call when something goes wrong, the person who listens without judgment, the person who provides reassurance when they are uncertain. Over time, you become emotionally useful. But usefulness is not the same as value. Someone may need what you provide without understanding who you are. They may depend on your attention while ignoring your needs. They may expect emotional support while offering very little in return. The difference becomes visible when you reduce access. If you become less available, what happens? Do they ask whether you are okay? Do they become curious about what has changed? Do they make an effort to understand your experience? Or do they become angry because you are no longer providing what they expect? Anger can reveal entitlement. Some people are not disturbed because they miss you. They are disturbed because a resource they depended on is no longer accessible. Your attention regulated their loneliness. Your reassurance reduced their insecurity. Your presence protected them from emotional discomfort. When you withdraw, they lose those benefits. Their reaction may be about the loss of function, not the loss of connection. That is why someone can suddenly become intensely interested after you become distant and return to indifference once you are available again. They did not necessarily rediscover your value. They restored access. Power in relationships is often connected to emotional timing. Who waits for the reply? Who initiates the conversation? Who changes their schedule? Who worries more about losing the connection? Who remains available after being ignored? The person who is always waiting may slowly organize their life around someone else's decisions. You check your phone. You analyze response times. You wonder why their tone changed. You delay your plans in case they contact you. Your attention becomes connected to their availability. Meanwhile, they may not be thinking about the relationship with the same intensity. Their silence controls your emotional state. Their attention determines whether you feel secure. Their distance creates anxiety. And your response is to become even more available. You answer faster. You give more reassurance. You make yourself easier to reach. You believe that increasing access will strengthen the connection. But sometimes, it creates a greater imbalance. You begin protecting their access to you more carefully than you protect your own time. You stop asking, "Do I want to respond right now?" You begin asking, "What if they lose interest?" You stop considering whether their behavior meets your standards. You become focused on preventing them from leaving. This is how availability can become a form of psychological submission. Not because you are weak, but because your fear of losing the connection has given another person control over its rhythm. Some people interpret repeated generosity as a permanent agreement. At first, they appreciate what you give. Then they expect it. Eventually, they question you when you stop. You may answer immediately for months. The first time you take longer, they ask why you are ignoring them. You may support them through repeated problems. The first time you need support, they describe you as difficult. You may forgive behavior that hurt you. When you finally create a boundary, they accuse you of changing. But you did not change. You stopped giving unlimited access. The problem is that your generosity created a new baseline. Every sacrifice became normal. Every accommodation became expected. Every act of patience became part of the minimum requirement. The other person may not remember what the relationship looked like before you gave so much. They only notice what they are no longer receiving. This is why people sometimes react negatively when you become less available. Your boundary interrupts an arrangement that benefited them. They may call you cold because they were comfortable with your warmth. They may call you distant because they were accustomed to unrestricted access. They may call you selfish because your constant giving allowed them to avoid giving equally. Your limit exposes the imbalance. and people who benefited from the imbalance may resist the change.
Being too available is often driven by fear. Fear of being forgotten. Fear of being replaced. Fear that distance will make someone lose interest. Fear that saying no will make you less valuable. You may believe that constant presence protects the relationship. If you remain helpful enough, they will need you. If you remain attentive enough, they will choose you. If you remain forgiving enough, they will stay. But availability cannot create genuine investment. You can make yourself impossible to reach without, and still be emotionally unseen. You can give someone constant access and still remain secondary in their priorities. You can provide everything they need while receiving very little of what you need. The fear of losing someone may cause you to hide the truth about the relationship. If you always initiate, you never discover whether they would reach for you. If you always repair conflict, you never learn whether they care enough to repair it. If you always fill the silence, you never find out whether they notice it. Your effort prevents the relationship from revealing its natural balance. You keep the connection alive so effectively that you cannot tell whether the other person is contributing to it. You are not observing the relationship. You are maintaining it.
There is a role some people quietly assign to you. You become the person they return to when everything else becomes unstable. When they are bored, they contact you. When they are lonely, they contact you. When they need reassurance, they contact you. When another relationship fails, they return to your attention. But when their life becomes full again, your importance decreases. You become emotionally available without becoming emotionally prioritized. The connection may feel intense because they return frequently, but frequency is not always evidence of value. Someone may contact you often because you are convenient. Someone may trust you because you are safe. Someone may depend on you because you are reliable. None of this guarantees that they are willing to invest equally. The real question is not how often they return. The question is what they do when you are no longer available. Do they make an effort? Do they respect your limits? Do they become interested in your life rather than only returning with their own needs? Or do they disappear until they require access again? Your role becomes visible when your availability changes. Until then, constant access may hide the truth. Eventually, you may become tired, not because you stopped caring, because you realized that you were carrying the connection alone. You stop initiating every conversation. You stop explaining every silence. You stop repairing every conflict. You stop making yourself responsible for another person's comfort. At first, the silence may feel uncomfortable. You may wonder whether you are being cold. You may feel guilty. You may want to return to the old pattern simply because it is familiar. But the silence creates information. If someone notices your absence only when they need something, that reveals something. If they become angry rather than curious, that reveals something. If they demand the same access without considering why it changed, that reveals something. If they make no effort at all, that reveals something. Withdrawal is not always manipulation. You do not need to disappear to create anxiety. You do not need to delay responses as punishment. You do not need to create uncertainty to make someone value you. The purpose is not to control them. The purpose is to stop controlling the entire relationship by yourself. If the connection survives only because you provide all the attention, effort, reassurance, and repair, then your availability was not supporting the relationship. It was replacing one. Being available is not weakness, but availability without limits can become permission. It can teach people that your time is unlimited, that your attention is guaranteed, that your forgiveness is automatic, that your presence will remain regardless of how they treat you. You may believe that giving more proves your value, but value is not always recognized through quantity. Sometimes, the more you give without conditions, the less visible your giving becomes. Your presence should not have to compete with your absence to be recognized. Your loyalty should not require you to abandon your own priorities. Your attention should not become something others consume without understanding its cost. And the darkest possibility is that no one forced you into this role. You may have created it yourself. You answered every time. You excused every pattern. You returned before anyone had to repair the damage. You remained available because uncertainty felt more dangerous than imbalance. Then one day, you may realize that you were not being held. You were holding everything. The conversations, the connection, the emotional stability, the relationship itself. You were so afraid of becoming absent that you never noticed how absent the other person had become. And when you finally stop providing unlimited access, the silence may reveal what your constant presence kept hidden. Some people did not value you. They valued the certainty that you would never leave.